Good evening, everybody. How are you? Welcome to the Bettor's Edge. My name is Vinny. You should know that by now, although the channel is fairly new, fairly meaning a couple of days. But we are 5-1 in sports going into tonight, although we are losing the Washington National game, which I am shocked. So I don't know if they're going to come back from 6-0, but we have Miami +9. I think it's gone to 10 in the NBA. And we have Texas -195 versus Colorado. Those are the picks I put on. If you check it, it's all there for the last 3 days, the picks, and we are 5-1 going into tonight. Was not going to do horses on this channel, to be honest with you, but I know a lot of people like these big races. I do play them. I do get some information, not inside information. Anybody that tells you to get inside information, bet the other way. But I do have an algorithm with gentlemen that I used to move professional games with the MIT guys in the 90s. You could read a little bit about that or hear it on my first broadcast for you guys. So we do pretty well. We generally do. With horses, not quite as good as sports, but we have a very decent opinion because we have horse players. Well, we don't. The people that I dealt with in Las Vegas that are professional handicappers. So my friend takes a consensus and then asks some pointed questions, looks at the odds, and makes his picks. We're going to start with race 10, which is the Jim McKay Turf Sprint Stakes. Okay, so if you thought this was only going to be for the Preakness race, surprise, because I didn't know I was going to get these races. I thought he was going to give me the Preakness. He ended up giving me them all. This starts approximately 4:12 Eastern tomorrow, and it's a pick 4. Beer Can, the number 13, he's going off at 8-1. Now, he returned from a year-long layoff at Keeneland and ran pretty well. He banged around in the gate prior to the start, which might have diverted a little attention, but it couldn't be helped. Jockey and Flavian Pratt stays on, and this runner just might improve in the second start of the layoff. The far outside could prove an issue, but I think this horse will be 10-1, and I'll take the shot with a $22 horse. I like Nothing Better. The one horse, he's 3-1. He's chalk. 6-year-old just keeps on firing every start. There's little room for error with the rail here, but he usually breaks well, so I'm not expecting that to be a problem. I'm expecting him to be on or near the lead early, and I think he's good enough to be there. The number 6, That's Right, 12-1. This 4-year-old returns from a layoff since October. He really came around last year when he was moved to the turf from dirt. He has pure speed, and if he's ready to fire off the bench, the workout suggests he is, he might surprise this group. Number 5, Smoking Jay. He was second in the race last year in this race, and he was coming off a layoff. This year, he has 2 races under his belt before this big race. I'm drawing a line through his last start. I think the turf course at Keeneland just wasn't his favorite. He's dangerous in his third start off the form cycle. Generally speaking, if you have a form cycle, the third will be your best or conversely your worst, depending on how you're running. Number 3, Optimist City Limits is 5-2. He's a favorite, maybe the favorite in the race. 6-year-old didn't show much in his return. Hard to accept him at that price. Yeah, if he was 4-1, I'd give him a look, but not at 5-2. Number 4, Uncle Ernie. Great name if you like The Who and Tommy. Surface remains a big question for him. His lone turf attempt was terrible. I'm giving him one more chance. He's 20-1. Sometimes you can give a horse a chance, especially if you're using them in exotics, which I'll get to. Number 9, Determined Kingdom. 4-year-old. Should improve. The 10, Coppola. Love the Godfather. There's Francis Coppola for you. He earned a huge buy figure at Churchill in his last start, but he needs to prove that he can repeat that. Not so sure he can. How I'm playing this race, and I suggested small, don't go crazy, 1, 5, 6, 13, over to 3, 4, 9, 10. So if you were playing exactas or triples, you have the 1, 5, 6, 13 to run first. Second, the 3, 4, 9, 10. Race 11 is the Maryland Sprint Stakes. I always like this race. This is about 453. Probably goes up to 505 because they're always showing the women with the hats. I know it's not the Kentucky Derby, but they focus in on the prettiness of the track. The Maryland Sprint Stakes. The number 8, Straight No Chaser. He's 3-1. He exploded at Oak Lawn Park when moving back to the allowance ranks after trying Stakes Company California didn't fare that well. He needs to prove, though, that start wasn't a fluke, but it was a legitimately fast race. And he's a 4-year-old. He seems to have his best days in front of him. I believe he's the one to beat. I think he'll be 2-1. The 9, Hello Hot Rod, 10-1. And 10, Wonder Where Craig Is. That's trainer Brittany Russell. She has 2 horses in this race, and they're both interesting. Wonder Where Craig Is had a nice win in his return from a layoff, but he's 6 years old now and hasn't produced the same quality of races since he returned from Dubai last summer. He was running in Dubai. Russell's other runner, Hello Hot Rod, has been running longer, but with these 2 horses likely meant for the lead, this guy could end up with a stalking spot on the outside. The other horse could be dangerous late, Hello Hot Rod. Now, we'll see. Pretty square price. Hello Hot Rod, I think, will go off at 15-1. Wonder Where Craig Is, probably about 4 to 5-1. The 5 horse, Willie Boy, BOI. Love when they grammatically get cute. He was really good last summer, but hasn't been the same horse over the winter and spring. He makes his 3rd start off the layoff, off the top trainer. Chance at a good price, probably be close to 20-1. Nakatomi, the 7 horse. He's 5-2. He's clearly talented, but has no speed advantage in this race and hasn't proven himself at a stakes level. The morning line favorite looks vulnerable. He's 5-2. I don't know if I trust him. So I would bet the 8, 9, and 10 over the 5-7. 12th race, the James W. Murphy Stakes, go around 6 o'clock. 9, Najaric. He's 8-5. Deserves to be 8-5 probably. He was one of the best Americans in last year's Breeder Cup Juvenile Turf. His 3-year-old debut at Keeneland was solid, finishing 2nd in the Grade 3 Transylvania. And that's proven to be a really good race, a live race, and it produced 2 winners, including the Grade 2 American Turf on Kentucky Derby weekend. Najaric adds blinkers for trainer Graham Motion, and the field looks easier than the last one. So I'm going to single that in a win bet. 8-5, might be 6-5, but I think you're still okay as long as it's not under even money. The number 6, Moonstrike, he's 20-1. Never had a chance to show his best in his last race. There's definitely more there. I'm just not sure if it's enough in this field. He was much better than last race, much like the old sports axiom. You're never as bad as you look when you lose, never as good as you look when you win. And he wasn't that bad, but I don't know if he's this good. The 1, Fantastic again. He's 3-1. He's going to be a favorite. His lone turf try wasn't much, but that was his debut. He has proven capable on the synthetic at this distance with early pace speed, and the transition back to the turf makes sense for this barn. He could be good. Don't know what the odds will be. I'd like him at 4-1. Don't think I'll get that. The 3, a Western Yarn, 10-1. He's another pace player. He might need to clear Fantastic on the inside early to have his best chance. There's no turf questions about him. Good turf runner. Might have to clear, and I don't know if he has enough speed early to clear Fantastic. And that's why he's 10-1. If Fantastic wasn't in this race, he'd probably be 3-1. The 5, Circling the Drain, he's 8-1. He's a local, and he should take to the turf. He's shown enough talent on dirt to think he could surprise if he switches the surface. So I'm keying the 9, which I told you I like. I'm going to key him Najaric. Not sure how they pronounce it still. And I'm going to put him over to 1, 3, 5, 6. I think that is a solid bet. The Preakness, you say? Yes, it'll go off at 7 o'clock to 7:30. You know all the fanfare All right, Mage, he's 8-5, the 3-horse. It's a little hard to understand how out of 23 horses that were pre-entered in the Kentucky Derby 2 weeks ago, only one horse from that race returns to run the Preakness Stakes. 8 horses entered. The field is disappointing, and that's why you're going to get a short price. If you had 14 runners, he'd probably be 3-1. It's going to be 8-5, might be 7-5. The lone returner is Mage, the impressive winner 2 weeks ago. Took a big step forward in that fourth start, and he's just right for this spot. If he's able to produce a similar performance, probably doesn't have to be as good, but it has to be a 9 out of 10. The biggest negative from the last race is that he has gait issues, and he broke slowly for the fourth start in a row. And I hope the Derby, this is good enough, because the last Derby that he ran in a couple of weeks ago, that fast pace let him run his race, although we got over a step slow. The Preakness smaller field should be a slower projected pace. That could be an issue also for Mage if his gait problems continue. However, he's continued to show ability to run the turns extremely well. And the turn move is an old Derby Preakness visual that has proven successful in these races. I'm expecting a similar move on Saturday to get him into position at the top of the stretch and 300 yards, bang. At this point, we'll see if there are any lingering effects from the Derby run. I don't expect there to be. I like him. National Treasure. I like that horse a lot. With First Mission now out, National Treasure becomes the alternative. Bob Baffert, he's running a string of races after his debut maiden win, and constantly proves that he's not really afraid. He hasn't really threatened to win any of them, but he's a solid horse. One concern is that the California 3-year-olds have not run well outside of California this year. And that's exactly what he is. The rail should force his hand early, but being forwardly placed he should be in a place to be a contender. I really have my doubts he can win the race, but I think he'll be second or third. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play 3/1. If I had to go further, I'll play the pick 4, 1, 6, 13 with 8 and 9 with 3. So there you go. It should be interesting. I think that if we have a $100 budget, we should be good. And if you're not going to play the other races, you should be fine. So there you go. Tomorrow morning, I will have my sports picks available, and all horses all the time with Al. I'm going to be doing a special Preakness starting at 10:30 tomorrow morning, probably with guests John De Silva and Robert Finaro from The Sopranos. So come check that out. All horse racing all the time. Okay? See you soon. The sports early in the morning, I will drop the link for you to get to that show. Be well, everybody. God bless. Please check out my sports handicapping. I think you'll enjoy it. Okay? And I will talk to you soon.